Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Absolutely Pickled podcast.
The best 30-ish minutes or so of your life you'll never get back.
Yep, and we've got a doozy today, right, Lee? We've got a special guest. Do you want to tease? Don't tell them who it is, just tease it.
Absolutely. You know, we pulled her straight from the beach and onto the pickleball court, and she's having a blast playing pickleball.
Yep, wait and see. We'll be right back.
And we're back. We have our lovely guest, Pen. Would you like to do the honors?
Yes, I get to do the honors this week. So excited and honored to have a superstar guest, the fabulous Geena Urango. Although, Lee, how would you say her last name with a nice Spanish twist to it?
Urango.
Urango. I'm not even going to try, Geena. That is just not in my wheelhouse. I'm Cockney, but welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be chatting with you guys today.
I was going to do, like, before I even said your name, I was going to kind of go through how accomplished you are. And I thought, the list is too long, mate. So we're going to get into that now. So just you flat out Geena Urango, and now we're going to talk about how fabulous you are. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, Lee, again, this has happened once before. We're in the presence of greatness because Geena has a Wikipedia page and not everybody has one of those.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is it like factual, or have some people gone in there, and you know how you can sometimes go in there and edit and some people take liberties?
Right. Yeah. I actually, this is news to me too. I didn't realize I had one. So
That's where I've got all my info on you from.
It could have been a stalker, or it could have been, somebody in the know.
Who knows? I'm interested to see what they said, though.
Well, here's how we'll find out. I will talk through what I think are your accomplishments, and you tell me if they got it right or not, okay? So, hi. First of all,
hi.
Nice to see you.
Eric.
Welcome.
Hi, boyfriend Eric. How are you?
Hi, guys.
You play pickleball?
Too, if you like. We're very.
I do like pickleball. I'm not very good at it, but I love it. Yeah.
That's it. Neither am I.
That's why we have Lee. Lee teaches us all. I wasn't very good at it to start off with. It's very easy to learn. Very easy to learn.
Yeah. Good learning curve. Fun game.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Day.
You better be taking us to dinner. Let's start off with you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Alamitos, California. So born and raised Southern California, never left. So been here my whole life. Yeah.
Why leave? I've got to California and I'm never leaving. I will die here. I'm just.
I got there and I left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she did leave. Yeah. What's wrong with you?
But I still kept the area code.
She did. Her phone number's still 619, but she lives in Florida, so whatever. And so you went to Los Alamitos High School, and is that kind of where your volleyball career started, and you started playing, or did you play as a youngster before then?
Yeah, I picked up volleyball in middle school. They introduced us to the sport. I was a swimmer at the time, and so I was one of the few kids that had the overhead strength to actually hit the ball over the net. So I liked it because I was good at it from the start. And then pretty much from there, my parents had no clue about volleyball and just tried to find anything and everything that they could get me involved in to learn the sport, get better at the sport. So I did like a couple like clinics at the start. I did like a rec kind of organization that was local. So I did some classes with them, and then I got introduced to club volleyball. And then so I played club volleyball pretty much from middle school through high school, and then I also played in high school as well.
Got it. Because I know
it was club volleyball, like travel ball. So then your parents' weekends and every was taken up.
Yeah, all weekends from January through June, pretty much. Yep.
So I know we can't tell on the podcast because she's sitting down, but she's 5'10". Is that right?
Yeah, just
so
about.
Again, I feel like a midget next to her, but like, are your parents?
You're taller than me.
Yeah, but I'm still feel small next to Geena. I was playing 100%. The other day with her and another friend Geena and another friend Kelly, who's even taller, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by skyscrapers. But anyway, I was going to say, you mentioned your parents. Are they athletic? Are they tall? Did you get this?
I know it's funny because I still feel short in my world, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm all the people I'm playing with, I'm one of the smaller players on the professional tour right now. But my dad played football in high school. My mom kind of did a little bit of track and field, but they weren't like super athletically inclined. My grandma, so on my dad's side, that's the Mexican side of my family. My grandma was 5'7", so for a Hispanic woman that day and age, like that's pretty tall.
Yeah.
And my mom's dad was like about 6'1", so I think that's a little bit where I got some of my height from. But yeah, I'm still short in my world.
Oh, well, all in the pickleball world, or at least for the women. So your high school team won like a CIF division, the state championship, right? So you played through high school, and then I know that I had written down that you did 2 years on the US youth national team. Would that be right? And junior
Yeah.
national team. And that's when you started winning gold medals or gold trophies. And I am the odd one out here today because Lee has gold medals and you have gold medals and I don't have any gold medals. So I'm in the presence of greatness. But then you carried on and you went to USC, correct?
Yes, yeah. So I got recruited to play indoor volleyball at USC. So this was before beach volleyball was a collegiate sport. And what's cool about the NCAA rules is you can play 4 years of one sport and then a 5th year of a different sport. So I finished my 4 years of eligibility indoor, and going into my 5th year when I'm finishing my master's, beach volleyball got added as a collegiate sport. And so I got to end my college career with the cherry on top of playing beach volleyball, the sport I've always loved more than indoor. You know, hate to say it, but
We won't tell. We won't tell.
yeah, but the opportunities now are just so there's so many opportunities for younger players for beach volleyball. So I was just grateful to kind of be at the head front of that and get to play that my 5th year.
That's amazing.
What position did you play indoor?
I was an outside hitter, defensive specialist. So same thing, like I was an outside hitter my whole life in club and high school, but I was shorter, especially at the collegiate level. And so then I go play at USC, which at the time was a Pac-10 school. And, you know, it's like, how am I going to hit against 2 6'5" girls blocking me, you know? So it was, I was more of a defensive specialist when I was at USC.
Yeah, I played in college, but last century, and so I was back row. And it was before they had a libero and before rally scoring. So that tells you how good it was.
Fun. Yeah, those games could
when games took forever.
Yeah. That's
I
awesome.
had no idea about that 5th year rule. I didn't know that.
You could go back to school and play a 5th year is what she's saying.
I know.
It might be worth it.
Well, the only one I would maybe have been any good at is soccer, because I was annoyed that they didn't have soccer when I was in school, because I think that would have been a good one, because I had an older brother, so I was always playing with his mates, you know, but they didn't have it for girls. Okay, so I'm not super good because I never played volleyball, so these stats to me are a bit of a mystery, but presumably these are fantastic because they quoted them on your Wikipedia page that you didn't know about. But so come to find out, Lee, we have a bit of an assassin on the podcast today because she has 225 kills.
In one game.
I don't know if it's in the end of the game. I think it was in your college career. It says you've got 225 kills, 100 service aces, and 706 digs.
Wow, those are pretty fun facts.
Yeah, there you go. Bet you didn't know that, did you? So,
and did you know you did them all in one game?
Yeah, that'd be impressive.
I'm just telling you your stats now. So what we would say now, because there used to be a girl that I used to work with, and she was on the legal team at DirecTV, and we were talking about DirecTV the other day, and we named her. We referred to her as, and I'm going to refer to you as the same thing. She had the face of an angel, but the heart of an assassin. So there you go, Geena Urango. That's your new. That's your new
thank you.
Geena Urango, face of an angel, heart of an assassin.
I like it.
There you go. So then you do the 1 year, therefore, of beach volleyball, and suddenly now you're getting noticed, and I'm seeing some United States under 23 selections and then I wrote down in 2019 you started racking up more gold medals. So can you give us a little bit of what happened next?
Yeah, yeah. At the time they had USA Beach Volleyball had programs for different age groups. So they had, you know, like you said, U26, U23, U21. And so it was cool because you got to in the summertime go get some free, like if you made the training group, qualified for it, then you got to train in Manhattan Beach with like premier coaches and the top talent in the US who had tried out. And from there, they kind of picked a couple teams to represent USA in a big international tournament towards the end of summer. So I went and played in like the World University Games were in Shenzhen, China. I played there. And then we did the World University Championships, which was in Maceió, Brazil. So it was cool to like be able to play against some of the top players and then as well get to go travel and represent your country.
Yeah, and that's perfect segue because I wrote down that there, and you also won golds in like I saw Dominican Republic was there and Doha, Qatar. I say Qatar, is that right? Qatar. Everybody says
Qatar.
I say Qatar. I
Okay.
thought it was
Yeah.
Qatar. So again, divided
Yeah.
by common language. What was the other thing I was going to say just then? Yeah. So anyway, the travel must be fantastic. Just the fact that you've got to see. And Lee was just in China. That's what I was going to mention. Lee was in China promoting pickleball.
Oh, very cool. I've heard some cool things about China expanding the sport over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're all in for a rude awakening when they embrace pickleball 100%, and they're close to doing that. And I saw some of the badminton players we played with a couple of Olympic badminton players that, I mean, my Mandarin is extremely basic and his English was terrible, so I think we communicated in interpretive dance. But we were playing the tournament together, and as the tournament progressed, the stuff he was doing and how he was getting it, and then things that I was seeing, I'm like, oh, never seen that before. Okay. So
Wow.
it was very eye-opening, and I'm like, I wish I was younger because I would try to do that move, but if I did it right now, I'd throw my hip out and then I'd be in track. But no, I mean it's fascinating, right? And it's like China's definitely a country that if they embrace the sport, they're embracing the sport. And then, watch out, world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll have to watch that episode when we talk about that, Geena, because there's some
Definitely.
funny stories, and we're not going to get into them now, Lee, but she did fall in a toilet. Let's just leave it at that, shall
Well,
we?
it's like a hole in the ground anyway.
Yeah, I slipped and fell in a hole in the ground because I was getting acupuncture and I couldn't bend my knee, and it was the one day I chose not to wear underwear. So it's great. It was lovely. It was a mess.
It's too
And,
messy to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It was
the
great.
only other thing before we move on to how you got into pickleball
Yeah.
is I saw you on another podcast with two, or presumably volleyball players, and they were chatting with you about the fact that 2022 you became an AVP champ finally after 7 attempts, and I was like, okay, we need to hear the story on that.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah, so I would say I think I'm going into my 10th year playing on the AVP tour. And over the years, you know, I've played with a handful of different partners, and I made like my second year I made 2 finals, and then my third year I made another final. So progressively throughout each year, I was more or less making a final here, a final there, but I just couldn't close the deal.
Right.
And it was like the curse of second place. And the weekend before I played in Atlanta where I won, we were my partner and I were playing in Fort Lauderdale, and we actually made the finals. And I hadn't made a final in like a couple years because I had like a year where I wasn't playing as well. Then the year before that was COVID, yada yada. So I had made a final in a couple years and we lost. And it was that moment where I was like, man, you know, I've matured and I've progressed in my mental game and all of that. And I realized I'm like, you know what? Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, regardless, win or lose, like, it's okay. I'm just happy that I like played well. We made it this far. I'm having fun. Like, that's what it's about, right? So then the next weekend, we actually traveled straight from Fort Lauderdale to Atlanta. And same kind of thing. I was just like playing free. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I'm just going to take this one game, 1 point at a time. And we ended up making the finals again. And same mentality was like, all right, well, like it was different for me actually, because I went in knowing like if we lose, like I just experienced recently, I'm going to be okay, you know?
Yeah.
And we won, and it was like the craziest match because it came down to you. So in the third set, you have to win by 2. It's to 15 in the third set. And we were up 14-11, and the team ties it up to 14 all because
Oh,
we can't get that last side out. And we take a timeout, we come back out, we get 15, and then we get a transition play and we get 16 to win. And it was like you see people after they win and they're just like throwing sand, jumping on their partner, and like I just had this like weight fly off my shoulders, and I was
yes.
like finally I did it, you know. So it was definitely my favorite moment in my whole career, and I hope to win another one this next year. But yeah, it was definitely a very memorable experience.
That's so great because, we talk about when I'm teaching, and Lee, the same, we talk about the combination, the scoring side of thing is very like volleyball with the side outs, with only being able to score points when you serve, and we've had Lee, and I have talked about, God damn it, I was 10-4 up and they came all the way back and I shit the bed, And we actually also have our mate, Dr. Sai, our sports psychologist, we've gone, what do we do when we're just choking and we're up, So it's translatable across. So did you put that victory down to your mental, not your play?
I definitely, granted I was playing some of my best game, but I think a lot of it was, I can attest to having a good mental game that whole tournament.
Yeah.
So it was a combination of the two for sure.
And Lee, have you got any examples of when you've had a good day mentally, or is it all just your skill?
No, I mean, no, I mean, if I could bottle up the days that you're mentally so zoned in that, the ball is like this big and everything, then it's like, I mean, yeah, we'd all be retired millionaires by now because
Yes.
cut up and sell it, right? No, but it is. It's like we've all been in that place where you've got game point, you got match point, and they come back, and then you've got to be like not focusing on the fact that shit, we just lost 3 points that we should have won.
Yeah.
And now it's tied back up, and it's like, okay, I need to reset and how, like, what is the game plan moving forward? Let's take a deep breath and move forward versus focusing in the past, right? And I think that's where the mental comes in, right? It's like a lot of people focus on the fact that we were right there. I'm like, but you're still right there, so just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going, we were right there, but I'm just gonna like fold now because, mentally I'm just weak. Like that, I think that cripples people a lot, and it's very freeing, like you said, when you allow yourself to just play free and accept that win or lose, you're gonna wake up tomorrow, the world's still gonna keep going. Like no one, like
Nobody's gonna die.
90% of the world doesn't care.
Totally.
Because we live in a bubble and we live in our own bubble, and it's like do or die. And it's like, but when you have that acceptance and that freedom, it just relaxes you, and then you're able to just go out and play and actually have fun doing what you do.
Yeah,
For sure.
brilliant. Well, nice segue to talking about the kind of similarities between volleyball and pickleball. So now we got to ask the key questions. How did you get into? We only met 3 weeks ago, didn't we? Pickleball court. How did you get into pickleball? How long have you been playing? What was the impetus what was the attraction that brought you in there?
Yeah, so during COVID in Southern California, obviously, as you guys know, the beaches were closed down completely. So I'm like, well, I can't play volleyball. What am I gonna do? And so my boyfriend actually and I went down to visit his mom and his stepdad, and they had been playing pickleball a little bit at their gym or with their community of friends. And so it was down in Orange County where like some things were open during COVID. And so they're like, hey, like come down and we'll play a little pickleball. So we went and played, and I was like, this is so much fun. So of course, then my boyfriend and I are like, all right, we've got so much time on our hands. Let's play the sport. So we actually went to, this was before like they really started to sell a bunch of nets on Amazon pretty easily. Like you could easily buy one now.
Yeah.
But we went to, I think we went to like Lowe's or Home Depot, and we bought PVC pipe and garden netting and measured out the measurements of the court, and we built our own pickleball net that we could like use zip ties to like attach the net to the PVC pipe. We went to the park because the basketball hoops were also like off limits, but the
Yeah.
courts were open, and we brought tape or like painter's tape, and we
Yep.
like measured out the court, and we were watching YouTube videos every day, and then we'd go to the park and we'd set up and we'd drill and drill and drill. And I remember it was like, I don't know, we'd been doing this for like weeks, and then one day I'm really frustrated, and because I mean my boyfriend's very athletic and he's much faster than me, better hand-eye coordination, all that stuff, yada yada. And I'm very frustrated because we'd played a few games against each other. And he's like, "What's wrong? Like, we're out here, we're having fun, we're playing pickleball." And I was like, "You've just beat me 7 games in a row. How is this fun for me anymore?" You know, like. So anyway, I've been addicted pretty much ever since, and I try to play a couple of days a week because I've seen how much it's helped my defense for beach volleyball. So it's really good. I think it's great for cross training for me, and obviously I love it. And like we talked about last night, like this is my potential like second career when, you know, I'm done with beach volleyball and not able to do that anymore. So
He's getting better fast. And annoyingly, another lefty in our midst, because Lee's a lefty, you're a lefty. So
nice.
again, I'm just left out.
We're the only people in our right frame of mind. It's okay.
Exactly.
No,
That's
but
so
it's
cool.
like, but there's so many similarities, right? I think from volleyball translating to pickleball, right? Because when you think when you're like bumping the ball, right? It's a very small movement of the arms, which is like the dink, right? You're not coming
Really?
from your legs and coming over your shoulder, like
Mhm.
like you see some rec players do. And in the dinking game, you see that where does the dink go wrong when there's a lot of movement in the arm, right? And it's controlling that movement, getting behind the ball so that you're in the right position to actually push the ball where you want to push it, right? So that there's a lot of, you know, and then I equate volleys to like blocking in volleyball, except you're not up here, you're more here, but it's still that pushing. We're not, you know, we don't block this way, it's here. And the same in the volleys, we should be like this instead of a lot of us are like, you know, trying to hit the crap out of the ball. So if we take the way you play volleyball and you translate that to pickleball and make those movements correct in pickleball, you're going to be unstoppable. And I mean, I haven't seen you play. I can't wait to see you play, but it's one of the things where it's like, this is, it's a lot of sports translate, like the footwork in soccer translates or football translates to pickleball, because you keep the ball in front of you and you want to keep the ball in front of you in pickleball, right? But in volleyball, it's like your arm movement, your body movement, how you transition your weight, all of that really, really translates well, especially, you know, and it's like, and if you can bottle that up and do that consistently on the pickleball court.
Yeah. And it's not even like, it's in addition to not just the technique and the touch on the ball, but also the balancing of the court. So like I'm used to playing with another person on the court, and at least for doubles for pickleball. And so it's like, it's great to kind of talk about that defensive strategy. And then if you see that your partner go this way, you're balancing the court out by helping him out in the middle. So it's like, it's very, from a defensive standpoint on the court, it also translates well with the two people on the court.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I say this, sorry, I say this in pickleball all the time, and I need to get better at taking my own advice. Like I always say, there's no such thing as a bad shot. I mean, aside from in the net or out, right? There's no such thing as a bad shot in pickleball. It's just bad court positioning and bad ball awareness, right? If I pop the ball up and I'm in the kitchen, I can get killed, but if I take 3 steps back, I can get that ball back, right? So it's like, does the same thing apply in beach volleyball? It's like, it's like you typically lose the point based on bad court positioning based on the ball that you've hit, or am I off base?
Right? Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
I was
Yeah,
just going to say, based upon, let's just go through it, the dedication of, you know, going to Home Depot or Lowe's and buying PVC pipe and netting, and then practicing for weeks, and then being the athletic specimen that she is. And by the way, also wingspan on a pickleball court isn't too shabby. And a lefty. The only thing we did laugh about the other day, didn't we, was that instinctively Geena kind of does stuff that she would do in pickleball. And so like the turning over of the paddle for a backhand, she just wants to kind of, you know, dig it out like this rather than playing a backhand. So because she's
but defensively, that I'm actually okay with that defensively.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily want that offensively because there's a lot of that you can't generate a lot this
Yeah.
way. So you want to turn it over, but defensively, I'm okay with that because I do the same defensively on my backhand, and I will sit backhand, and my backhand will come across like
Oh,
this.
Yeah.
So but it has to be on the defense, not on the offense.
Right. Yeah, she did hit one ball fast to my right, and instead of just switching the paddle to my right, I just put my hand out and I popped the ball up with my hand. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry that.
I said, if you'd had a paddle in your hand, that would have
Yeah.
been legal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to basically jump into Dear AP because we've got a couple of questions for you to answer. So this is a section where we have our listeners write in, and just like a magazine, Dear Abby, this is our Dear Abby section, which is Dear AP. So we're going to cut to Dear AP. Question number 1 is from Dee Dee, and this is actually one of my students. So Dee Dee from El Segundo wanted me to ask. She literally wanted me to ask, and this came up yesterday, and I thought,
I shouldn't insult her. I won't then.
don't insult her because I know her, okay? Because she's very harsh on people, just FYI. So Dee Dee asks, I was playing with my partner in a local fun tournament, and they're about, by the way, a 3.5 level. And our opponents did not admit, they self-admitted that they did not have good third shot drops, right? So they either drove the ball at her and her partner, or when they started defending that well, they started to lob and lob and lob. And so their question was, how do you anticipate the lob, and what's the best way, or how do you defend against a serial lobber? Lee Whitwell, over to you.
Well, first of all, first mistake was saying fun and tournament in the same word because they're not, right? Sorry, Didi. Second is like, if they're lobbing, like, keep your eye on the bloody ball. Like, you know, a lot of times we watch the person hit the shot and then you're like, oh shit, ball's over my head, and now we're scrambling. So we don't track, so she's not tracking the ball, right? And second of all, if they're serial lobbers, why are you stuck on that line? I'm assuming they got stuck to that kitchen line. So back off the line, cover the space. So it's like, if I'm 2 steps
Take the
off,
lob away. Yeah.
if I'm 2 steps off the kitchen line, now perceptually you have to hit a lob further back. And then I'm hoping trying to draw that lob out, right? And then obviously hit the overhead and whatnot. But a lot of it is just, it's ball recognition. It's, you know, stop looking at your opponents and see if their outfits match, and actually see where their paddle is contacting the ball. And if their paddle is like this, guess the only ball is going to go one way. Yeah. Right. So it's really tracking that, and you can train the eye to look at the nuances of the paddle, right? And the big difference from there to there, like that ball is only going to go one way. I mean, so, sorry, Gigi, I don't mean to be so harsh, but yeah.
No, it's all right. We just wanted to, I mean, I talked to her about how when the lob goes up, not to do what a lot of people do and, you know, do this, to turn sideways, take a big step, and then do like a.
Yeah, but if she doesn't come from tennis, that is so hard to do. So therefore, you've got to be ahead of it. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I can be late on a lob, but I know how to move my feet from tennis, so I can get back if I chose to. And still scissor kick that overhead, right? Yep. But if I don't come from tennis, that is a very unnatural movement. And then you're asking me to learn that movement as an adult, where that just seems very unnatural and very uncoordinated for me. So I'm just going to waddle back like, you know, the Marshmallow Man, and like crack my head. This is not a problem Geena ever has to worry about because she's so tall. And by the way, nobody in their right mind lobs a volleyball player, especially. I'm going to make a shirt when I play against Geena. I'm like, I successfully lobbed. Yeah, 225 kills. The lob's not happening. Yeah, I'm like, I successfully lobbed Geena.
I don't know. I whiffed a couple yesterday that were over my head, but in volleyball, in beach volleyball, we call it a jumbo. So if you're in the defense and they jumbo a high loopy ball deep over your head in the corner, it's named after a jumbo shrimp. I don't know who thought of that, but we call it a jumbo. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. There you go. So no jumbos allowed. And if you whiff the ball, you just dropped your head as you were hitting the ball. That's all. So next time, keep your head up a little longer. All right, Didi, that's you taken care of. Now we've got question number 2 is from Todd from San Antonio, Texas. And it's straight up about technique. He says, can you help explain
the technique for a good transition shot to help me get to the kitchen safely without getting killed.
Ball awareness.
Ball awareness to
It
get
all
in.
comes down to ball awareness. Most people don't know. They're told to get to the line. It's like, yeah, I can hit a third shot drive or drop and run to the line, and it's not going to be good. Most of the time, you're still moving forward as your opponents are hitting the ball, and that you can't break and change direction. I always say it's when you're learning pickleball, it's step, step, stop, step, step, stop as you're coming in, because you should be able to hit it walking, and you're moving forward. As you're hitting the ball, you can move forward. When your opponents are about to hit the ball, you should go into a lateral movement. You should not be still, but you should be lateral, because lateral, now you can move your body. When you're in this lateral motion, and the ball is over there, your body will like ball, and you go with your legs, right? If you're static and you see the ball, you go with your arm, and it becomes a reaction, right? So it's basically understanding that if I'm hitting the ball up there, the further distance you have from me is better, because then I can get the ball up. But if I'm here and I'm close to you, I've overcommitted. So it's all awareness and understanding that there's no rush to get to that line. If you get there on the third shot, great. If you don't get it on the third, get there on the fifth. If you don't get there on the fifth, get there on the seventh. And if it takes you till 21, it took you till 21, but at least when you got there, you neutralize the point, and now the point can start. Versus rushing to get there and feeling this pressure that you have to get there. You don't have to go anywhere on the pickleball court other than in the direction of where the ball is.
Brilliant. And Lee gave me another really good piece of advice that we shared. I don't know if it was last week or before, where I loved it when you said one time, you got to take your feet there, because if your feet go there, your arm follows. But if you lead with your arm, your feet don't naturally follow at the same time, and then you're reaching.
Yeah, and think about it, and same in volleyball, right? When you're bumping the ball, like if your arms shoot out, and your body is like off kilter, and your weight's not behind the ball, like that directionality now is a little bit like your arms are now overcompensating for what your body didn't do, right?
Totally.
And you're hoping you get the ball where you need it to go. Whereas if you can get your feet there first, and then you can, transition your weight or push your body in the way the ball needs to go, there's a bit better percentage that the ball's going to go where you want it to go. Sorry, Todd.
All right, Todd, that's you sorted. Just take your time, mate. Get in when you're ready. Okay, now we're nearly there. Oh, well, I guess I was going to say the one other question I had was for you, Geena. Now you've got Lee here. What is the hardest thing that you found coming from pickleball, from volleyball to pickleball? What's the one thing that you're like, God, I just can't get it? Or is it all coming pretty easily? Is there anything that you're really struggling with?
Shoes. Yeah, I definitely don't have the proper shoes, that's for sure. And my toes are
playing bare feet.
Aside from shoes, I would say, like you mentioned earlier, is the kind of reaction towards like going like this with my paddle seems super counterintuitive to me. So it's hard to, I think I just need to literally go against a wall and just rep that out over and over and over again. And then I mentioned this last night when we were speaking, but like initially the extension of my hand was very weird. Like, because I'm so used to getting the ball all the way on my forearm. So like to not only get the ball away from my hand, but even like another foot on the paddle, is sometimes hard. So I'll sometimes find myself like hitting the ball close to the handle or close to my hand. So just knowing that I don't necessarily need to get as close to the ball as like I might think.
Which actually means that your footwork's probably way better than everybody else's, because you're getting nearer because you think you need to be. And in fact, you've got more time, mate. So you don't have
more time.
I will challenge you next time you get on the pickleball court, right? Because it is when it's, because in volleyball you do have this other hand to block, and when you're spiking, you're using your left hand. So this is a weird motion, right? Not coming from a racket sport. So try, if you can, when you're dinking and the ball is in front of you, like use this edge of the paddle to point to the ball. So like if I'm going to your left shoulder, if the ball's on your left foot, my paddle's going to tilt this way a bit. So then now that becomes more natural versus being maybe sitting more forehand, right? And like force yourself to sit a little bit more backhand a lot of the time, because especially because as a lefty, you're going to play right side mainly because you want that forehand in the middle. right?
Right.
So a lot of it is now understanding where the ball is and moving your body. So it's like when I'm playing, I make sure I sit a lot more back in, because it's like when you speed up at me, I'm gonna make the hardest speed up to be right here, right? Which is very hard for me to block, right? But if you can do that, great. And then I can always still shift. So I can see that ball shift and then smack,
Mhm.
because it stops me. This smack becomes a very compact smack, where so I try to go for my forehand, I'll go like 3 zip codes over and then try to come back and swing, right? And then
Right.
knows what could happen, and the ball tends to not go where I need it to go. But a lot of it is just training yourself to like sit back in and be compact and enjoy that.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
gonna get a lot of power out of just that small.
Next time we play, Geena, this is what we're working on.
Perfect. I'm gonna visualize it.
And then,
Yeah.
and then I'd like to see how, what grip you use. And it's like, let's maybe change the grip a little bit, like, so that you can still go forehand, but
Yeah.
like that is there, right?
Okay.
And you can still smack it. So it's not, so some people will almost pancake the grip. So then when you go to backhand, it feels really weird and
Yeah.
you can't get it. So you want to be able to hit
Yeah.
both sides comfortably.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'll definitely try that out and see. I need to work on it for sure.
And then if a set goes wrong in volleyball, you're like, and then we're just gonna go like that, And then the people are like, what has she done?
What? Somebody's really messed with her game.
Yeah.
She's never going to win that AVP title again if she
No,
doesn't.
that's
sort
how
that.
she's gonna win it. She's like,
Yeah.
what is that shot?
Yeah,
You're
no,
like,
it's a fake. Like, what is she doing? And then
Yeah.
you point. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're almost out of time, so we have a fun little questionnaire to wrap up the podcast.
Cool.
It's basically 8 questions. I think it's 8 questions. So first thing that pops into your mind, there's no right or wrong answer. It can be volleyball, pickleball related. It can be, you should have heard some of my answers last week. Lee flipped it on me and I did it last week, which was a bit shocking. So anyway, the first question out of the chute, do you know, what is your favorite word?
Oh, Baba Ganoush.
Oh, what? Baba Ganoush. I don't think I can even spell that. Okay, that's awesome. What is your least favorite word?
Oh, everyone, I don't know. The first word that came to mind was moist. Everyone doesn't
Yep.
like that. Yeah, no, pretty common.
We've had this conversation, yeah. Mine was, yeah, we won't go into mine actually, but yeah, moist is right up there. Although Thardia Lott, the #1 player in England, hers was mold.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's pretty good too.
Me
M
too.
words. Okay, what noise do you love to hear? What's a noise you really love to hear?
Oh, the ocean for sure.
Yeah. Well, you're a beach volleyball
Wave.
player. It's a
Yeah,
slam
happy
dunk
player.
there, isn't it? It's a slam dunk. What is the noise that you absolutely detest and just can't stand?
My boyfriend's alarm when he presses snooze over and over and over again.
What is it? My husband does the same thing. What is
Yeah.
that all about?
Just
Okay.
get-
Yeah, just get up. Just get up and make me a cup of tea. What is the problem? What profession, other than your own, so other than professional volleyball player and soon to be professional pickleball player, if we, keep playing the way we are, what profession other than that would you like to attempt? You have to
Oh.
be something you've never tried.
Okay, this is like if I had my dream.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be like the next Anthony Bourdain. So I'd travel the world, try foods all over the world, and experience different cultures and talk to awesome people. in
Oh,
those
that's
countries.
good.
Yeah,
Oh.
that'd be a dream job.
So you're a foodie.
Yeah, that's been the best. That's been the best answer we've had.
That
Oh,
is the
thank you.
best answer we've had.
Yeah,
It's the most
I
inspiring answer we've had. The rest of them have been pretty crap.
mean, it's like it sounds like the best thing ever. Like travel the
Yeah.
world, eat food, and talk to people about their cultures. So I think I always just like to experience cultures through their foods when I travel. So yeah, it'd be fun.
Good luck when you go to England. Make sure you find a good fish and chip shop.
I did actually one
Oh,
time.
did you?
Yeah.
Okay, on the flip side, you know what's coming. What profession would you not like to attempt under any circumstances?
Oh gosh. I don't know. A trash man. I'm just thinking about they literally just came by, so that's what made me think of
That
that.
made
But
you think of it, yeah.
dealing with garbage all the time, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. When I got my convertible, this is my second one now. I didn't realize it's a beautiful thing having a convertible. When you drive past In-N-Out, it's this beautiful smell of burgers. But when you drive past a trash can, you don't notice that when you're in a regular car. But in a convertible, you're like, oh my God, I think I'm going to be ill. So I don't know how they do it all day.
Neither.
Yeah.
But I commend them for it.
Yeah, you do. Bless them. Thank you very much. We should sing My Old Man's Dustman. That won't mean anything to you, but that's an English song. Okay. Favorite curse word, please. Are you a swearer? And if you had to swear, if you're not a swearer, which would be your favorite go-to?
Oh, I mean, on the court, I definitely say fuck a lot. So like, oh, fuck.
Yes. So more frustrated. Yeah. It's the most common answer we receive. Final question.
Okay.
If heaven exists, what would you like God, he or she, because we're not sure, but what would you like God to say when you encounter them at the pearly gates?
Ooh, interesting question. Probably that you have acres and acres of beautiful land with all the rescue dogs you could want.
Oh, see, now you've just won Lee's heart now, because she's got about 15 at her house right now. It's shocking we've made it through a podcast without hearing from one of them, actually.
I know.
Well done. I don't know what you did with them, but well done.
NyQuil.
Oh,
No, I did not give my dogs NyQuil.
What a lovely answer. That's fantastic. Well, you've won now for Baba Ganoush. And what was the other one?
Yeah, Baba Ganoush and dogs.
And dogs. Brilliant. All dogs go to heaven. So you know they're going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Well, that's about it. We just want to make sure, thank you for coming. And how can people, is there anything else? We usually ask this, but I'm going to do it this week. How can people follow you? You know, obviously I'm telling them that you've got a Wikipedia page that they could follow, but like, how can they follow you and find out what you're doing and all that jazz?
Yeah, I stay pretty up to date on what I'm doing on my Instagram. So you can just follow me at Urango, Urango. So pretty simple.
And we need to talk real quick, I'm sorry, about the Bet on You podcast. Bet on Her podcast.
Bet on Her
yes,
podcast.
so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Until we've had a nice conversation, because they were kind enough to ask me to be on, and it's fantastic and it's far more professional than we are. But tell everybody a little bit about the Bet on Her organization and podcast.
Yeah. So my two of my friends and I have been doing this for the past year, and it's where the idea is elevating the voices of women in sport. So it's not just female athletes, it's women who work in the industry, who have worked, etc. So yeah, it's great because we think it's important to share these stories of all these women, and now, and you know, we need more coverage, we need more press, we need more media around women in sports. So that's the idea, and it's been really fun. And you can also listen to this on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that good stuff.
And I mentioned to Geena, Lee, that AJ McCord would be a great
I'm like, oh, AJ McCord would be fun. Yeah, she's in Hawaii right now with the surfing championships.
Oh,
so
fun.
she's covering that. So she's an amazing sports journalist, sports commentator, and just an all-around nice person.
Really nice girl. And she would just, you and her would hit it off like that. And I was wanting to tell her that the surfing, the national, I don't even know, but they're moving to El Segundo. There's some organization that's moving to El Segundo. So I was like, oh, she might be in my neck of the woods again soon. But anyway, so we'll give you her contact info or put her in touch with you because I know she'd be a good guest and she would love to be on your podcast. So.
Yeah, we would love, and Lee, we'd love to have you on too whenever you're in California out here.
Definitely. I think June onwards I should be there quite a bit. So I will tell Penn, my social secretary, to everyone know.
And she's looking to stay in my brand new place. That's what she's trying to do, you know. Got this nice new digs now. She's not on the couch anymore. All right, you guys. Well, thanks again, Geena. Thank you so much for coming on. Really enjoyed chatting with you. And everybody, we will see you all next week.